is on. You're supposed to say what you just said.
What did I say? I forgot.
I'm just gonna do it.
I'm just gonna do it.
I think if they've been watching enough episodes, they can tell how late it is in the night.
'Tis late.
Based on
The hour.
delirious comments.
The hour is late.
That sounds like the ghost of Christmas past.
Episode 42. Things Figureoutable, chapter
4. Eliminate excuses. Y'all ready for some tough love?
I'm not. I'm just kidding.
That's coming. You ready or not?
Okay, how are we gonna start this one?
You ready for some hard truths?
I got it. We ready?
Yep.
So a question I ask people is, how do you like your bad news? Like a Band-Aid or sugar-coated?
And what's most people's response?
They actually say Band-Aid.
Yeah.
So I haven't had someone say sugar-coat yet.
Now, is this mostly like
Work?
professional?
Yes.
Okay, because I feel like if it's personal bad news, then it's like, oh, sugarcoat that. But if it's like,
Beautiful, you're hot. Oh, this one thing happened, and I love you. Like a sandwich.
do you want to go get food?
Yes.
That's always a good way to
That
end
makes it better.
Well,
All that to say.
we got a tough chapter to talk about tonight.
Yep, it is Marie Forleo's Everything is Figureoutable, Chapter 4, and it's all about eliminating excuses.
Yes, so the fun quotes that go with this is, the worst lies are the lies we tell ourselves, by Richard Bach.
And we won't read the next one.
We will not because it's inappropriate.
Well, that, you know what they say about excuses. So,
Assumptions.
and also
Excuses.
assumptions.
Yep.
Assumptions and excuses. If you need a
Yes.
diagram, we can draw one for you on our After Hours episode
Oh.
that we will not be having.
You'll never find it. It's off air.
Yeah, too bad, huh?
Guys, this is a hard topic because the excuses are understandable and there is truth to them, but at the end of the day, it's still an excuse.
Because everything is figureoutable. There's
It
a
is.
way to get around it somehow or to work through it somehow. So this chapter, again, it's going to help you combat whatever the false narrative is inside of your head.
And let's see, she gets right into it with when you have these limiting beliefs. So instead of saying, you know, I don't have time to work out, I can do it. I don't know, we should probably pause and back it up and read what this page says.
Yeah, what's that say?
Limiting beliefs.
So I wrote say this, so what does it say right there?
Say this. You turn your head and grab the phone. Really? On 4:30? Oh, yeah. It's the whole, like, you wake up and you're already tired. Or whatever. Sometimes we're able to feel effortlessly. Oh, yeah. Okay, so your alarm for work versus your alarm for a flight. So you wake up before it's time because you're so excited. Whereas, like, if you woke up at that time on a work day.
Too bad, huh? Guys, this is a hard topic because the excuses.
It's like
Are
we're
you
still
making
talking.
fun of me?
No, I'm like talking, so
Are
it looks like we're still talking.
you making fun of me?
But at the end of the day, it's still an excuse. Because everything is figureoutable. There's a way to get around it somehow or to work through it somehow. So this chapter, again, it's going to help you combat whatever the false narrative is inside of your head.
Am I doing it? Am
I'm
I
good.
doing it? That's the robot wave.
All right, ready?
Are you talking?
I just finished talking, so do you want to talk about that? Or no?
I don't know what to say yet.
Okay. So Marie opens the chapter with how it's funny when you have your alarm set for a regular work day. Let's say you don't like your job. And when the alarm goes off at whatever time, you're just like, oh my goodness, and I'm so tired, and maybe I can sleep 10 more minutes, or, there you go. Or, let's say you're looking forward to something very exciting, and your alarm goes off at 4:30 in the morning, and you pop up, you're like, yeah, let's go, and you're ready.
Yeah, like maybe you're going on a trip to Hawaii, and your flight is really early, and so you wake up pumped and full of energy. And so you can't, in those situations, you can't say you didn't get enough sleep.
Right.
Because you actually got less sleep for your Hawaii trip, and you're super thrilled about it.
Right, you're going to rally.
Yeah.
So, again, that whole conundrum is the basis of eliminating excuses. Why can we be a morning person one day and not the other? It's just a choice.
It is. And, it's hard to think of it as just a choice. But man, if you want it bad enough, you will find a way.
Right, so we talk about something we call it limiting beliefs, which is something that's going on inside of you or inside of your head that is actually holding you back. So, for example, in the book, she gives a few. I need to start exercising again, but I'm just so busy with work and the kids, I can't. I have no time. So that would be an example of a limiting belief. And we'll address these about finding time and all that kind of stuff as we go in the chapter.
So again, she's just reminding us that if we truly believe that everything is figureoutable, then all the excuses have to go, because excuses basically conflict with the idea that everything's figureoutable. So you're basically giving a reason why it's not. But it is.
Right.
It's figureoutable.
So this chapter is going to help you reclaim some energy and give you some power to change. And she starts the next little section with 2 4-letter words that will annihilate your excuses. And so I have adopted this kind of about maybe a couple years ago. And it's can't and won't. So those are the 2 4-letter words. If you're saying, oh, I can't work out, I don't have time. And she lists a lot of things. I can't get up and work out every day. I can't find the time to get writing done. I can't forgive her for what she's done. I can't take that job. It's across the country. I can't ask for help. The list goes on. So all you need to do is just rephrase it. So can't is really just code for don't want to.
Yeah.
I don't want to get up and work out, or I don't want to do the laundry today. So if you change it to won't, that's going to be that changes your mind with how you're thinking about it.
Won't puts the responsibility back on you.
Yes.
And can't is putting the responsibility on outside forces.
Right. When it really is your decision.
Right. So I can't find the time to spend more time with my kiddos. And man, if you say I won't find the time, dang.
I know. So the can't and won't, that just reveals the ugly truth that's inside somehow. So I can't learn a new language. Well, she tells you how you can do that, how to find your time, how to figure it out. So,
and I think the one step beyond that is when you put won't in there and that gets something turning inside, I think you got to stew in that and figure out that that won't. Is it because you prioritize something else? Is it, maybe it causes anxiety, the idea of doing it. I think you really got to explore when you hear that won't and it's unsettling. I think you need to explore that further, because if you don't, it's the same root probably of a lot of different issues.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So what, do you have an example off the top of your head maybe? Hypothetically, or a friend, or...
So, for a friend, no. Let's see. I used to work every Saturday and Sunday and stay at school really late, and I basically I have to go to work. I can't not go to work. And then when it was, I won't stay home and, be with my new husband or whatever. A lot of that was I wanted to do really well at my job, and putting that aside next to, but I also want to be a really good spouse. And so also the fear of, well, what if I don't go and my room's not clean and organized and they fire me? And it's like, okay, are they really gonna fire you? And if you don't go, what's really gonna happen? And so just seeing that there's this like unrealistic fear that somehow if I didn't go into work every weekend, the whole school year, that somehow I would end up fired. And so once I had that kind of like rational, irrational way to evaluate my anxiety, that really helped give me control back over some of the things I was choosing to do with my time that conflicted with what I also wanted to be was a really good spouse.
Yeah.
So,
I like how you said sometimes it just comes down to prioritization, and that's okay too. Like, instead of working out, if you are so tired and exhausted you've got to get to sleep or you're not going to be able to drive to work. Like some days I get to work and I don't know how I got there because I was very tired. So that's dangerous. So finding that balance between, yes, you need to work out. Can you maybe work out at a different time in a different way that is not going to exhaust you? So again, that just comes with trial and error.
and that's the
sticking with
key
it.
part, right? If you say, well, I won't work out because I know I'll just be more tired, but you haven't actually tried it
Yeah.
yet. A lot of people that work out before work, they didn't think they'd ever be that person, but it was like the only time they could find, and now they wouldn't want to work out any other time. So I gave that life up.
It really, so I think it just depends on you in that season, in that stage. Like right now with work for both of us, it's extremely busy right now and things have to go right because it's state required. So there's that. So it's hard to, you've got to do well at this one thing. So for this little season, that may jump up a notch over something else, and that's okay. Just make sure you're constantly checking your priorities. Make sure you're doing a time audit and figuring out, okay, well, if I want X, then I need to do this to get that. Am I actually doing that?
I think it's important to mention here too, if you're just jumping into this book series in this episode, the last chapter talked about your beliefs and how much they can affect the choices you make. So again, when you stew in why you won't do the things that you know you need to do to reach your goal, you might check again your beliefs and your environment and the people that are influencing you. So if you're kind of struggling with this chapter, it would probably be beneficial to go back and listen to the chapter before this on beliefs.
She also talks about in this section, her quote is, "You are 100% responsible for your life." So again, we're putting our spin on it. So you need to pray like it depends on God, because obviously He's in control of everything, but you need to work like it depends on you. We mentioned this a couple episodes ago about, oh, I want to win the lottery, but I'm never going to buy a ticket. Why aren't you letting me win the lottery, God? Like, okay, well, you need to get in your car, drive to the store, actually buy a ticket, and then we'll see. Like, that's also not saying you're about to win the lottery. People who are reading way into this.
I like the flood story too, where this town is flooding and someone comes by in their car. He's like, no, God will save me. It's flooding some more. People come by in a boat. He says, no, God will save me. And then he's on the roof and a helicopter comes by and he doesn't get in. He says God's going to save him, and he drowns and dies. And he gets to heaven and he says, God, why didn't you save me? And he's like, I sent a car, a boat, and a helicopter. What did you want from me? So, yes, you are again, she says you're 100% responsible for your life. Again, having that relationship with God and being on the lookout for the support along the way and acting when you know you should.
And to be specific, you are 100% responsible for how you respond to whatever happens in your life. So, again, things are going to happen to you. Things are going to happen to me. Bad things happen because we live in a broken world. But what is your response to that? Are you just going to curl up in the fetal position for the rest of your life? Or are you going to pick yourself back up, get some tools in your tool belt, and move forward? What's going to happen? That's totally up to you. You are in charge of how you're going to handle the situation.
And she's very upfront about it. She's not just talking about a speeding ticket or a stubbed toe. She's talking about that there is going to be some very significant times in life that are traumatic. And again, not that it's easy, and it might take, really strong measures to get through those situations, but you have a choice in that.
Right.
Alrighty, so then she goes in and shares a whole bunch of people's stories, which they are very inspiring, and they made me feel a little bit bad for complaining about anything I've ever complained about in my whole life. So if you need kind of a reality check, or maybe you have been through some awful things, and just knowing that someone else has been through it and how they got through it and got to the place they're at now, I think you'd really enjoy those stories.
Right. So right after some anecdotes, she talks about, the title is Truth and Tactics, Overcoming Perceived Limitations. So she's going to give us some things to do to overcome whatever those limiting beliefs are if you don't have the time or the whatever. So we're going to start with the first one. Excuse number 1.
I don't have the time. I think this is like the most common excuse that really feels like a reality. But I like the suggestion she had, which was mapping out how you are spending your time, but not like sit down and in 5 minutes write down what your day looks like, but kind of like when you're counting calories or food and you're writing down every single thing you put in your mouth. So as you're going through your day, how much time are you spending on social media, watching TV, at work, commuting to work, going to the grocery store? So not just things that are frivolous, things that really do take time.
Mm-hmm.
Bathing your children.
Yeah.
And then washing their clothes and bathing them again.
The reason behind the time audit, and we actually have a freebie already prepared, we'll put it in the show notes. So if you want that, it's a schedule of the whole day, and you can audit your time and be specific if you need to break down the sections even more. If you only spent 4 minutes doing one thing, then write that on that bar too. Mm-hmm. So keep that in mind. The purpose of the time audit is to see where you can collect extra time. Like if you looked through Facebook on 10 minutes here and 15 minutes there and 20 minutes there and 5 minutes there, that's about an hour that you could have back just because you were mindlessly scrolling through Facebook, which guilty. But,
and you didn't have to get up earlier, and you didn't have to stay up later.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, that's awesome. Because we do value sleep as well.
Yes, very much.
All
And
the sleep.
I recently watched a TED Talk on what happens to your body when you have REM sleep, and it's fascinating. So I'll put it in the show notes too. But it's combating a lot of things, trying to attack your system. So it's crazy how much sleep actually helps you.
Yeah. And just some alarming stats. If you spend 30 minutes a day on your phone, which I probably spend more, but just let's say hypothetically only 30 minutes. Right. That over the course of a year equates to 22 full work days.
22 8-hour work days.
Yeah, not like half days.
Yeah.
Not like with a 3-hour lunch days. I don't know what that life's like. But
okay, what about this one? 60 minutes a day, either on your news or reading the news, email, gossip. That equates to 45 work days.
Gosh, what if you were like, boss, I'm taking a month and a half off to work on my passion?
No, you can't.
Yeah, you're fired.
Whenever you could have just, what are you doing with that 1 hour? You could have written the first draft of your book, launched a new revenue stream, secured a raise, made a career change.
Yeah.
Listen to this podcast.
I feel guilty just reading those.
I know. The math adds up quickly, and something that could help you is if you think of your minutes like dollars. So if I'm about to spend $30 on something, I mean, what else could you be doing with those $30?
That is like Chick-fil-A and Starbucks in the same day, people.
It's also like 60 Jack in the Box tacos if you need that in your life.
That's too big of an amount. I can't
Oh my
convert
gosh.
that. I think this is another situation where when you are spending time on screen time, that you ask yourself, why are you doing it? Are you doing it as an escape? Are you doing it to check out? Are you doing it because maybe you're obsessed with what people think of you, or
Trying
the
to keep up
status
with
quo?
the Joneses.
Yeah. So I think, again, if you can look at the root of the issue, then you can really make some big strides.
Or are you using it to keep up with friends? Or are you using it are using your Facebook powers for good and not evil. So again, core motivation. What is that doing? Is that serving you? If it's not, drop it. And that's her first step. If you want to try to find more time, you need to eliminate media consumption, which may sound crazy. Try it for a day. Try it for the morning. Try it for an hour. Depends on how close you are in contact with your screen. So I would say if you are on your screen a lot all day, can you wait until 9 to check Facebook? Can you wait until 10? Maybe you can take some baby steps and work towards it. It's almost like fasting, intermittent fasting.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. And she mentions it here, but I think it's going to be consistent throughout the chapter in the book that nothing changes if nothing changes. So you're not going to find more time unless you change something.
Right.
Getting up earlier, looking at how you're spending your time, limiting screen time.
Mm-hmm.
So I think if you first swallow the pill that something's going to have to change, it doesn't magically come from anywhere, then you're ready to actually make some changes.
And you can even, if you can find a way to do two things at once, like if you were trying to get this book read and done, but you also commute an hour every day, get an audio book, consume the book that way. And if that bothers you, then find another way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe you can combine some certain things. If you're a new mom, I don't recommend eating and showering at the same time. That can get a little messy, as much as you want to do that.
But if you're going back to school, you can read your textbooks to your child before bed.
Yeah, you can.
So you still get the mom and child bonding experience, but you also get caught up on your required reading.
In a word-rich environment.
Yeah, you're
great.
Developing their vocabulary.
Well done. Kids need to learn about neuroplasticity at the age of 3. Here we go.
Oh my gosh. We don't recommend that.
The next step is to break out of your inbox. So a lot of people have to check their email for work every day. Is there a time where you can, there's a thing called batching, which means you can do the same thing for a while. So if I get emails throughout the day, but I don't necessarily need to check it, I just need to make sure it gets done by the end of the day, maybe the hour before, I can check through it and see what all is vital. So if that works, because what I don't like is when I'm in the middle of doing something and then bing, and then I gotta check my email because what if it's something that I have to do right then? Oh, it's not? Okay, now I need to switch gears again, get back to the project I was working on. Bing! Ah! So,
or if it's a frustrating email and you got to get your emotional state back before you go back and teach the kids.
yes.
Speaking for a friend. No, my mother-in-law, she is a lawyer and has her own law firm, and she has one of those jobs where she's got to be responding to emails and putting out fires, and so she, right in the morning, like, looks at her inbox and marks the ones that have to be responded to, the ones that can be responded to someone else, and then the ones that need responding but she has time, and then she comes back to them later and checks. So the certain times of checking instead of, I feel like it wouldn't be productive because again you're always getting interrupted,
right,
and not getting anything really accomplished.
Yeah, airplane mode for a reason. And I like that. Find the hour when you need to do that, which will serve you best. Like if it is checking it first thing in the morning, okay, that's how I have to set my day because every day is different. So like with your mother-in-law, every day is different. She doesn't know what's gonna fall on her desk that day. So by checking it first thing, she can set up her whole day before she even gets to work.
Yep.
Which again is a huge time saver, and she's not having to get there and then look through everything and then figure it out. So if that works for you, do that. The third little tactic here is eat better, faster, and cheaper. So they did some calculations in here about how is fast food really cheaper, and they gave some examples side by side on you could feed your family for $28 here, or you could do a simple meal at home for $14 per person, or for $14 total. So again, breaking it down that way. Or I know for me, cooking's not my jam, but don't you like home-cooked meals? Yes, I do, but I just want them to be just magically appearing. But if I can find a better way to, ClickList has been great. So you can do your grocery list, fill it all together, go pick it up after work. You didn't have to walk through the whole store with 3 children. Stay in the basket, don't touch anything. Also smile and be happy.
Don't put that in your mouth.
No!
Yeah, I think too, she talks about how, like, the meal prep, the cooking and the cleaning up, and that is not only a time consumption, but an energy consumer. Sure, making
Yeah,
up.
I like it.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's facts. So she talks about cooking large quantities, and while it's not the most exciting thing, if you cook a lot one night, then you're not cooking every single night, because you can
Mhm.
have leftovers the next day unless someone doesn't like leftovers.
Yeah. If someone doesn't like leftovers, that is a little bit challenging, but maybe they'll get on board if you can say, look how much time, energy, effort, money we're saving by having this.
Yeah, spreadsheets.
Or even what you can do if leftovers aren't your thing, you can freeze the other half and then
Surprise them.
thaw it 2 weeks later. Hey,
And look what I cooked today.
hooray. Get some pans out,
You did
put it
have
back
to
in the
heat
pan.
it.
Yes, if you had to use dishes, then that counts.
I think so.
I agree. Well done.
I do like too at the end she said, if a doctor said that, your life depended on finding, like, the only cure for your illness was that you'd have to find, 2 hours a day of, like, to free up, or
Mhm.
you would die. I bet you could do it.
You would find it.
So again, if it matters enough,
Mm-hmm.
you will find a way.
I love how she also said, you can't manage what you can't manage, or what you can't measure. Let me say that again. You can't manage what you don't measure. Like, I don't know where my time is going if I don't look at the data.
Yep.
I don't know where my money is going if I'm not looking at it. A lot of people just spend frivolously and they wonder why they're broke all the time.
Yeah.
So that's why Dave Ramsey's so great. He makes you put money in envelopes, and when you run out, you're like, whoa, I guess I can't have any more fun. Thanks, Dave. But there's that.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was the excuse number 1. I don't have enough time.
And excuse number 2, I don't have the money. Which is
Ouch.
also very true, but I bet there's a way.
Yes. I know as a teacher I do throw that around a lot. I'm like, listen, y'all, please don't take my pencils home, because I can't spend $1 more on pencils again, please.
Y'all, if you know a teacher, they need pencils at the elementary level at least. They need some glue sticks.
We don't need glue sticks.
We'll
we
trade
need
you.
pencils.
We need some glue sticks and, like, the jumbo sized, and not the Craze Art. Sorry. We need Crayola, the sticky kind.
You get what you pay for.
Yes. All right, so there are ways. Money does not, in fact, grow on trees, and it's not going to
Technically,
magically.
it's made out of paper, and paper comes from trees.
And cotton. That's why when you wash it, it doesn't fall apart.
Oh, snap.
Yep. Don't ask me percentages on the cotton.
What
but
percentage?
I don't. 33.333.
Well done. I see what you did there.
4. Rounding up. Oh no, it should be 2, because 0.3. I don't know. It's past my math.
That's my math
abilities.
time.
It's nap time, not math time. So yes, it talks about, you might have to work your full-time job and then work a side job.
Yeah, Marie. The
And
author
money.
Marie.
When you B money, now we got M money.
That's right. She worked her side hustle for 7 years. She worked her full-time job and worked on the business she's built today for 7 years before she felt financially comfortable enough to step away from working multiple jobs at one time.
Yeah, right now we are doing this as a side job, finding extra time in the day, not making money yet.
Yeah, I like how you said yet.
Yet, yes, you gotta be optimistic. But we didn't just go from one job to the other. Like, we didn't quit our day jobs and then just start this. It's been over a year.
Well, and what's interesting is it wasn't that long ago, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, where we would physically get to spend time together, maybe like quarterly.
3 times a year.
Which is dumb. And my husband would always be like, Faren's your best friend. Why don't you go see her more? I'm like, we don't have time.
Yeah.
because mom of young kids.
We alternated having babies.
Yes, that's hard because then
What were we thinking?
we always wanted to be pregnant at the same time, but it was just nope.
Yeah.
We were just collectively pregnant for a decade together, I guess. It's been the longest life ever.
Yes. But now we get to spend lots of time.
And what's interesting is that we didn't have a time turner from Hermione Granger.
Oh,
We made the time. So whenever we came up with this, or we felt led to start this podcast, our husbands were like, so when are you going to do that?
Yeah. Lots of questions.
So, geez, why can't we just quit our job and do it? So that doesn't work because then we will for sure not have enough money.
Yeah.
But we carved out time. We came up with schedules.
It has
talked.
cost some money.
Oh, yes.
But we've chosen when and how much and spread it out. So.
Yes. And that comes with just lots of discussion on not just between me and you, but our spouses too, especially if there's not
money.
Right. Then we've got to figure it out.
Because then the discussion's over.
But even just spending this amount of time together, like this equates to a part-time job. So we are working our 40, air quote, hour job per week plus this part-time gig. So you can figure it out. We're doing it right now. And we have kids, little kids. That's not saying oh, you're not doing the thing, shame on you. No, that's not. We're just saying if we were able to do it, maybe that could give you some confidence to do it too.
And one popular topic is mom guilt. And so we usually meet together Friday nights just before the kids go to bed. So we are gone during their sleeping hours, which we did mention we like our sleep too.
Yes.
So that's the resource we sacrifice.
And that's also part of the grind.
Yeah.
So we did a grit mini-series last semester.
Oh, I like the word
Look at
semester.
that. Educated. So that's what we're living right now. We are in the trenches, grinding, doing it. So
yeah.
You can
It's
do
all
it.
worth it. It's all worth it. Like soccer, we've talked about. We
Oh my
played
gosh.
soccer. Who would ever go run 5 miles? But I'll chase a soccer ball in the field for 5 miles.
For real.
Or, you'll chase the forward,
That's right.
that
I got you.
tall brunette chick.
Yep.
and knock her down.
Oh my.
It's okay. I
I'm sorry.
forgive you.
Listen, we talked about this. I think it was episode 9 or 10. The one about fall camp. Ooh, if you know a college athlete, send that to them because it will be, they can relate.
Or if they used to be.
For
Or
real.
if they're
Or if they have a
headed that
kid.
way.
And if they have a kid that's in the,
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Fun times.
It
I
was.
apologize for everything I did those years at that school. I'm sorry.
I forgive you.
Thank you. Unconditional love, baby. All right, excuse number 3.
I don't know how. I don't know where to start.
Oh man.
Did
Okay.
you know everything about podcasting before we started this?
Let me tell you, Faren. No.
We knew what microphone to get
Well, that's
after we asked people.
Right. So this whole section is about how, thank goodness we have Google.
Mm-hmm.
She gives some stats in here about how if you have a phone that has internet capabilities, you now have access to more than the president did 15 years ago. What? So it would take them however long to finally figure out this information. Remember going to the library and you have to pull that row of index cards out and you had to flip through and then you had to find where the book was and then go get the book and then, That's, yes.
It's rough, y'all. It's rough. But it used to be.
Yeah, but now we have the internet. So, like you said, Faren, we just knew that we were supposed to start a podcast and we were going to follow the call. And then our next step was like, okay, God, so can you show us our next steps?
He said, yes, I gave you YouTube.
Thank you, sir. So then we promptly hopped on the YouTubes and we figured out what to do.
Why
and
is it called YouTube? I don't get it. Is it shaped like a U?
Maybe.
What kind of tube? An inflatable tube? The P-trap underneath the
Oh
sink
my
tube? It is past our bedtime. We did tell them that.
So it's, yeah, I think people listen to enough episodes over the course of time, they'll realize, wow, they're getting really late into their recording session.
Yeah.
The more goofy we get.
Yeah.
So we're there, high and deep in the weird. So,
But still oddly accurate in all of our facts and advice.
look at us go. Okay, so now the last part. So it's closing chapter 4. And remember, at the end of every chapter, she gives insight to action challenges. So again, she gives you things that you can do right now if you have the book. We'll link that in the show notes if you want to hop on and grab your copy.
Mm-hmm.
So again, she gives a few things to do that you can start with.
And I think this part is important because you might say, time's not my issue and money's not my issue. And I know where to start, so then I don't know what.
Motivation.
There could be more issues out there, and
Right.
so this will help you like put a name to it and hopefully help you find the next steps in how to overcome whatever excuse you may have.
Right, so we don't want to give away everything she is saying to do in here, but just trust us on this one, and we'll add freebies as we go if we can find a way to do that for you that will be conducive to our audience in particular.
Yeah, we want to make sure it's something that fits y'all and something that we can, stand behind and say that's worked for us.
Right.
So watch for that.
Okay, so that closes episode 42 of Everything is Figureoutable, chapter 4.
Yes, well, I was just seeing though, she has this at the end.
Bonus wordplay challenge.
Yeah, that sounds like fun. Except, what does it say? That you might not really want to do it, and that's okay, but that lets you know that you can move on with your life and figure out what your passion is. So she's got a little blip in there about it. But yeah, I mean, maybe you go through these exercises and realize, wow, it's not that I won't. The reason I won't do it is because I really don't want to.
And that's okay.
It is okay, and once you accept that, then you can move on and go after what you're really supposed to do. Alrighty, so yes, the end of chapter 4. And
Next week, Tatesia, chapter 5, how to deal with the fear of anything.
oh my goodness.
Holla to my Enneagram 6s. And stressed out 9s.
Here.
Present.
Don't say what I'm saying.
Jinx.
Double
jinx.
jinx.
Faren,
Blackout
Faren,
jinx.
Faren. Oh, come on. I mess it up every time.
It's
If you
okay.
don't know what this whole jinx thing is, check out some Facebook Lives that we have on our YouTubes.
And the tuber, the
Oh my-
yube. Is it the yube? I can't remember.
Oh.
It'll make sense later,
Wow.
or maybe not.
This is the longest signing off.
This will make sense when I'm older. Bye. Good night. We can't do this anymore.
Yippee.